an invisible bond that connects us. The 15th Meridian East, from -50 to +50 degrees Celsius. It unites all the climate zones of the Earth. People and places that could not be more different, connected by a common daily rhythm. After all, the time of day on the 15th Meridian is always the same from Svalbard to Namibia. A day on the 15th Meridian, different worlds at exactly the same time. The animals that can be found along the 15th Meridian are as diverse as the landscapes which they inhabit. What living conditions do they encounter in the heat of the Namibian Damaraland, in the flourishing upper Lusatia, or on the coast of Norway? From the northernmost to the southernmost point, what challenges do both humans and animals have to master together? The animal world. The day begins on the 15th degree of Meridian East, a German bat expert in Austria, a Himba elephant aficionado in Namibia, a Croatian researching bears in the forest, a Dutch whale specialist in Norway.
Općenito ja jako volim prirodu i biti u prirodi. Ovaj dio posla sa medvjedima nas uvijek vodi u područja brda i šuma, što je stvarno lijepo, kao što je ovdje gdje smo sada.
Manchmal lasse ich mich einfach treiben von den Geräuschen der Natur, und da geht mir gar nicht so durch den Kopf. Und ein andermal, ja, dann versucht man über sich selbst mal ein bisschen nachzudenken, was läuft falsch, was läuft richtig oder was kann man ändern. Und es gibt keinen schöneren Ort, darüber nachzudenken wie in der Natur.
Ame jimono gudya dai halu holo bantu no zondunge bantu ndi kula ndai mudo ina munyo ina lalu wedo luwa mbili pamachulo kuvyamena tendino ndi
6:00 in the morning in Namibia, Damaraland, a region south of the Etoshapan. Hendrik's daily routine starts before sunrise, but he gets to work outdoors and against the backdrop of the Brandberg Mountain. He's an elephant tracker from the north of the country. He puts his special skills into practice in service of an elephant protection organization.
No kuvenana okutewe bakulame pamo vatale mbima byulukila odeo.
The Mars-like rocky landscapes lies in central Namibia. The dry riverbed of the Ugab, which sometimes carries water during the rainy season, runs through the semi-desert. Both baboons and the Damara shepherds like it here. At the end of a sandy road lies the camp of the Elephant Protection Organization, Elephant Human Relations Aid, ERA for short. ERA works to cultivate a peaceful coexistence between elephants and humans. Hendrik Munimbome has been working for the organization since 2008. Today, he wants to pass on some of his knowledge to his son, Emke. As is traditional for the Himba, Hendrik assumed responsibility for the welfare of the family from an early age.
Oko ndambo ibo hemba utira mo ponganda ngo mutita odonkombo okudampoka heuto bilinga bina jono kutaka mithoguti heulika unongo okutia jina unongo ndambo okutia no madhe ulwanje mo bilinga ahe halandula mbinga njo.
Hendrik belongs to the Himba tribe, a pastoral people with a deep understanding of nature and remarkable tracking skills. At Era, his job is to go on wild game patrols and to check in with the inhabitants of the sparsely populated area. A few days ago, a Damara settlement was attacked by a couple of elephants. The people there feared for their lives and supplies. Hendrik investigates the incident. How many elephants were involved? Will they continue to be a threat in the future?
Kajali wala jatumbara kuiwa ndambo wina mwenyo hembiwe oponganda. Uthao kuiwa no yomokuti vimo mokuhupa mo hakilo kuviye wano kuvili pano kulio nyama. Vimo omo kuiwa kutia hikaja ende mpa okina vita hikilifike bojo wina mwenyo ne machulo kuya kutina kowe.
A woman of the village explains that it was a herd of elephants. One of the big elephants had a hole in his ear. The Damara belong to the poorest ethnic groups in Namibia. Their goats and their extensive stocks are essential for survival.
Okay.
The elephants have long since moved on. Hendrik and Emke will follow them through Namibia's savanna. Will they find the elephant with the hole in its ear? At the same time, at the opposite end of the 15th meridian on the Vesterålen, a group of islands north of the Lofoten, Martin Brill from the Netherlands has made his way to the sleepy town of Andines.
Eigenlijk har jeg bestemt meg når jeg var 29. Har jeg bestemt meg når jeg er 45 skal jeg gjøre bare hva jeg liker å gjøre. Og komme hit og bli i kontakt med en hvalsafari. Og etter 2 år jeg jobber her har jeg kjøpt den bedriften.
Martin was a successful IT manager in Holland, earning a top income. He had to start all over again on the Vesterålen, with small temporary jobs in the harbor. He has now been living in Andines for 13 years. His daughter Femke has come to visit, and Martin wants to show his 4-year-old grandson Sverre whales for the first time.
Du verlaat eigenlijk alle gekende mensen, familie. Begin waar de vanskelig, du må lære språk, du må komme in i samfunn og sånn slags ting. Men når jeg lærte språk og begynte å jobbe her, fikk jeg masse kontakt med mennesker. Og gikk det greit.
First, he lived here with his whole family. but his wife moved back to the Netherlands after just 1 year. Nevertheless, for Martin, the indomitable nature of the archipelago is now his home.
Som nog weer på avond är vi fri. Har vi ingen stress, ingen telefon. Är vi i lag med natuur. Är vi i lag med valen. Ja, fjäll, fantastisch områden. Det är också för en fotograaf är det hver dag en utfordring att ta fina bilder.
Like on a safari in the steppe, Martin looks for animals, but here in the water. And just like on land, it's always a game of chance. For Sverre, it is the first tour with his grandfather. After a good 30 minutes, the time has come. A mighty sperm whale surfaces.
Jobben met walen er på ene side er en utfordring. Du er selvfølgelig i natuur. Walen er helt speciaal. Die er store, die er fantastisch. Ja, også voor ons er det hver gang en fantastische opplevelse. Å jobbe med spekvåger, met spermacetwal, som vi har det meste. Ja, men også andre slags walen. Det er kjempeinteressant. Det gir også litt adrenalin. Vindewalen.
Off the coast of the Westeralen, the continental shelf drops 2,000 meters. The 20-meter-long animals can dive that deep without any problem. They find plenty of prey in the deep, dark sea, cuttlefish and giant squid. René Schleichhardt lives in the Upper Lusatia, directly on the River Neisse, the natural border between Germany and Poland. He's on the hunt for a special animal. Along with patience and luck, he needs a well-chosen site.
Ich kenne hier ein Geheimnis schon seit meiner Kinderzeit. Hier gibt es noch den seltenen Eisvogel. Und wenn man sich ganz leise verhält, dann kann man den auch beobachten und mal vorbeifliegen sehen. Also der Eisvogel ist schon, man hat es viele Jahre nicht mehr gegeben, weil die Neisse ziemlich verdreckt gewesen ist durch die Abwässer von den Feldern und so. Und das hat sich in den letzten Jahren ein bisschen gebessert. Irgendwann bin ich durch diesen einmaligen Ton, den der Eisvogel beim Kommunizieren verwendet, diese Vogelstimme, ja, bin ich darauf aufmerksam geworden und habe ihn dann dadurch wieder entdeckt. Also ich bin dieser Vogelstimme nachgegangen und habe dann irgendwann die Brutröhre hier entdeckt. Und das war für mich wie ein Sechser im Lotto.
René Schleichhardt has been a nature lover since childhood. The kingfishers can build their nests in the steep bank of the Neisse River. From there, they can spot their prey, preferably small fish. At the age of 6, René received a camera as a gift from his grandmother. From then on, he photographed everything that came in front of his lens. This childhood memory shaped him.
Ich habe immer versucht, irgendwie diese Eindrücke irgendwo ein Stück weit festzuhalten. Ich wollte was Visuelles, wie ich mich mitteilen kann und wie ich das den anderen Leuten zeigen kann, was ich empfunden habe, als ich da draußen in der Natur gewesen bin. Und irgendwann habe ich dann die Fotografie für mich entdeckt.
Meanwhile, he has taken around 10,000 photographs. In the coming years, he wants to publish them in a book. For the native Görlitzer, nature and photography are something that allows him to escape from his stressful everyday life as a geriatric nurse. At the same time, in Styria, the green lung of Austria, Oliver Gebhard is on his way to the most romantic castle in the federal province, Schloss Herberstein, where little nighttime creatures live in the dark corners of the 14th century walls. Oliver knows exactly how to find them.
Fledermäuse leben irgendwie allgegenwärtig um uns herum, aber wir kriegen von denen eigentlich gar nichts mit.
In Austria, Oliver has found a new home. He's the project manager of the Young Styrian nature conservationists and a freelance biologist. He is responsible for documenting the bat population in the region.
Fledermäuse sind sehr wichtig fürs Ökosystem, aber auch sehr empfindliche Tierarten. Sie reagieren sehr schnell auf Umweltfaktoren wie Gifte in der Natur und auch auf Quartierverlust und auf Störungen. Und deshalb muss man halt schauen, dass den Fledermäusen auch gut geht.
There are nearly 20 species here in the region. That constitutes a good 2/3 of the native bat species.
Alle Fledermausarten sind in Europa streng geschützt und da muss der Bestand überwacht werden. Und da haben wir so ein paar wichtige Quartiere, die wir dann jedes Jahr zählen, wo besondere Fledermausarten vorkommen. Und das machen wir schon über Jahre hinweg. Und so können wir dann auch sehen, ob der Bestand zunimmt oder abnimmt.
Simultaneously, in the deep forest, in the Plitvice Lakes Croatian National Park, bear expert Jura Huber is searching for the brown giants.
Vjerojatno ima nešto od one priče, teddy bear. Svako dijete je odraslo uz nekakvu medvjeđu lutkicu, pa valjda sam i ja tako imao u djetinjstvu. Pa je medvjed ipak ima neku veću težinu u mislima većine ljudi nego druge životinje. A onda, naravno, kad sam se počeo baviti istraživanjima, onda sam vidio koliko je to kompleksna životinja sa svojim građom, tijelom, sposobnostima, svijesti, ponašanjem. Tako da je to jedno beskrajno područje za istraživanje.
Jura Huber has been conducting a study of brown bears since 1981, which he later extended to lynx and wolves. Since then, the veterinarian has been working on the conservation of these 3 species in Croatia's most beautiful national park. Today, Juro and 2 of his doctoral students are looking for one of his protégés.
Ali kada jesmo u prirodi, onda naravno su tu, kao što smo i sada, traženje gdje je medvjed belov proveo, pokušati ga vidjeti da se vidi da li ženka ima mlade, pokušati naći izmet medvjeda pa da ga nađemo i kada nađemo medvjeđi izmet, za nas je to velika stvar. Jer se iz toga vidi prvo da je tu medvjed bio, pa se vidi šta je jeo, može ga se genetički istraživati i parazite tražiti i sve ostalo. Dakle, u svakom dijeliću medvjeđe aktivnosti koji mi na terenu možemo prepoznati, imamo predmet našeg interesa.
There are up to 1,000 brown bears in Croatia, and Jura does everything he can to keep it that way, although he's already old enough to retire. Counting animals and documenting their movements is the first step.
Ovdje, relativno blizu, je brlog gdje je jedna medvjedica, mi je zovemo Lana, provela zimu. Za nas je vrlo zanimljivo naći mjesto gdje je medvjed proveo zimu. Ako ga nađemo, a nadam se da ćemo naći, onda ćemo ga izmjeriti, točno mjesto gdje se nalazi, okolinu i sam brlog, dimenzije, jer onda iz toga znamo kakvo mjesto medvjedi vole da bi proveli zimu. Gdje smo mi, a to je brlog. Tu idemo. Još ima malo za proći.
About 8,000 kilometers further south, the search for elephants continues. There are only 2 desert elephant populations left in the world. One of them is composed of 180 animals in Namibia. About 30 of them live here in the Ugab region of Damaraland, an area larger than Switzerland. In this vast expanse, it's not easy for Hendrik and his son to get on the trail of the elephant who broke into the Damar camp.
First, you find the tracks and you know the direction, and you have to make sure that it's the tracks you need to find this animal or not. How is you try to understand the age of the tracks, how many hours, how many days ago the animal passed there. And if you believe it is more like fresher, then you can also think about the wind direction, where the wind goes and what the wind has done on the tracks. The elephant animal cover a big space of land. Then it's sometimes easy for you to think about why other animals didn't walk on it. If it is an animal busy area like baboons, goats, springboks, so they didn't walk on it. So sometimes you follow it for a while until you see either where they broke a tree or where they pee or they poo. Then you can judge, okay, this is useful.
They've located the direction in which the pachyderms are traveling. There, suddenly there's something to see. Is it the elephant that panicked the villagers? No, it's not him. This one does not have a hole in his ear. Hendrik is happy that it is not the problematic elephant, because this is one of the few bulls that is still able to reproduce. They have gotten off track. They need to return to base camp. It's getting too hot. Time for a break. "12:30 p.m. The sun has reached its highest point for today. Lunch break on the 15th Meridian.
Passion være i lag met natuur. Og det er en opplevelse, det er hva jeg sier også, det er adrenaline å finne vare, og hva gjør du, hva slags hval er det, hvordan oppfører de seg. Jeg elsker også den fugleliv her, 150 000 lundefugl, masse havørn og andre slags fugler vi finner ikke i Nederland.
The small island, Blagsoya, is home to 80,000 puffins and lies right in front of Martin's front door. A feast for the sea eagles, who also live here. When Martin isn't working, he loves to spend his time here.
Hvis du jobber, og jobber hardt, dan får du, tror jeg, også respekt. Så i sesong er det av og til vanskelig, når vi må gjøre 3-4 turer hver dag. I sommer har vi 24 timer lys her. Mennesker vil gå ut, Så vi må gjøre den i hovedsesong. Vi må prøve å tjene våre penger når de meste mennesker er her.
Only 32,000 inhabitants live on the 4 islands of the Vesterålen. In addition to the midnight sun between May and July, there are 10 times as many tourists. They come for the untouched nature and nevertheless contribute thereby to its destruction. Renee Schleichhardt also has similar problems. On the Neiße in Upper Lusatia in eastern Germany, tourists sail across the water on their own.
Die Touristik ist nie immer mit dem Naturschutz hier, sag ich mal, kann man nie so vereinbaren. Nie wirklich, weil die Boote rauschen in letzter Zeit jetzt ziemlich oft durch. Der Druck ist zu hoch einfach, es sind zu viele Boote und die Leute sind zu laut. Und das ist traurig. Weil gerade der Eisvogel ist ein sehr empfindlicher Vogel. Und der nimmt das irgendwann Störungen über viele Stunden auch mal übel. Und die trauen sich dann immer in die Brutröhre zurück, die Elterntiere. Und das kann auch schon mal das Aus und ein Tod für so eine Brut bedeuten.
Kingfishers alternate with each brood. When offspring arrive, they stay in the nest for 4 weeks and then leave, making room for the second brood. This gives Renee plenty of time to observe the spectacle and share his photos on social media.
Ich sehe mich darin, in meiner Aufgabe, ein Stück weit den Leuten das bewusst zu machen, inwieweit sie sich besser verhalten könnten der Natur gegenüber. Dass wir diese Kostbarkeit auch noch in vielen, vielen Jahrzehnten weiterhin mit eigenen Augen beobachten können.
Meanwhile, in the green treasure trove of Croatia, the Plitvice National Park, Jura and his assistants are still unsuccessful in their search for the bear. They have started using radio telemetry.
Pomoću antene pokušavamo dobiti signal koji šalje ogrlica koja je medvjedu oko vrata. Zato svi mi pomažemo sa ovom ručnom antenom i ovim prijemnikom da čujemo signal, da bi mu pokušali prići da ga vidimo.
The national park is a UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Site. It covers almost 300 square kilometers. It is now 3 p.m., and they have given up hope of actually finding the bear. But suddenly, the cave. They are overjoyed with the find. There are no bears, but many, many useful traces.
Eto, našli smo ovo drvo koje je odgriženo tu sa ove jele u blizini i još nešto grana od jela, vidite. To su očito medvjedići se penjali na ovo drvo i vukli su grane u brlog da si naprave ležaj. No, ženka, majka se ne bi penjala ovako visoko na drvo da otkine.
Brown bears mate in May or June. When the first snow falls, the pregnant females retreat into rock caves or dig out a place for themselves in the mountainside in order to hole up and hibernate. In Germany, the brown bear population has disappeared. In Eastern Europe, however, they are gaining ground.
Lijepe šume i vidjeli smo znakove medvjeda, znakove, tragove kuda je hodao, našli smo mjesto izmeta, ali nismo uspjeli doći dovoljno blizu do medvjedice koja ima ogrlicu i nismo je uspjeli vidjeti. I taj dan nije propao jer smo dosta toga naučili o staništu medvjeda, uzeli smo neke uzorke, na taj način znamo više o kvaliteti staništa za medvjeda u Nacionalnom parku Plitvička jezera.
Juro has dedicated himself to the bears. It has become his life's work to minimize conflicts between bears and humans and to enable the animals to live an undisturbed existence.
I populacija raste zapravo, i to mi se najviše sviđa i to volim hvaliti, što je dobar odnos medvjeda i ljudi u Hrvatskoj. ljudi nekako prihvaćaju medvjede i zbog toga se ne bune na taj rast populacije, iako smo svi svjesni da u jednom trenutku ćemo reći jer ne može populacija dalje rasti.
Back at the Arab base camp, Hendrik has to take care of the new arrivals. The organization is primarily financed by donations from the volunteers who come from all over the world to be here in the Namibian desert.
As you can see this one, I think this will be your hotel. Ya yelilongoma udeu. Unene chiwana pachiwanena no donjo. Hachimono udeu unene. Wetwa komeva. Onjo imo pama yuloku yokunwa pomeva papanwa matundu abantu wenda kudomilango vitatu. Onjo imo njoka yulo alokuteyo mewango kanta wethi wana chomeva. Okutia era haimono kutia. Maikonjesa oku maudhe hengo kutia yeningo manunu. Mokuta mokuamena omeva okutunga omakuma no mawe.
The young people's task is to build walled water points in the remotest corners of Damar land. Hendrik, his son Emke, and the junior tracker Adolf set off. They have heard that elephants have destroyed a water point. Elephants can smell water for miles. Of course, it is convenient for them to help themselves to the sources that people also use. To prevent this from happening, the tanks built for people have extra overflow basins where the animals can drink. They are separated by walls that are 2 meters high.
Ponjeno ku amena omeva. Tukamono kutia pachuana no ho chilo don kalondi unda pesa. Ukonje so kulibati la kodonjo ade apo meva awo. Ya ma don kalondi andi unda pesa dango modili andi yumane so donjo no ku veninga nkira bantu mbapela me kwa kodonjo. Mena kutia ade apo do ya ompo. Tamodika ade lionyo adili mo kan grupo kanunu. Himaji ogutia. Deli longi kido kuinkola po okubiso muntungo.
Elephants can suddenly be seen in the distance. They have to hurry to keep up with the herd. Hendrik and his small team have to distribute themselves strategically because the direction in which the herd is running can change at any time. They communicate by using hand signals. What they don't know yet is that the elephant they're looking for is among these animals. When there is an emergency in Graz, Austria, Oliver Gebhardt's mobile phone rings. He's always on call.
Oliver Gebhardt? Hallo. Oh, ist sie verletzt? Und wo ist sie jetzt? Ah, in der Box. Passt. Gut. Hallo.
Hallo.
Du hast schon auf uns gewartet?
Ja.
Ja?
Und da ist die Fledermaus drin. Schauen wir mal. Warte, ich habe auch Handschuhe. Das ist eine Zweifarbfledermaus. Schau. Ja, und der Flügel war erst ein bisschen umgeknickt, hast
Ja.
du gesagt. Aber jetzt sieht es ja wieder ganz gut aus.
Ja.
Aber wir nehmen sie trotzdem mal mit. Ich versuche, Menschen aufzuklären, gerade auch bei der Jugend. Ich bin ja auch bei der Naturschutzjugend aktiv. Da ist es ganz wichtig, dass wir schon die Kinder und Jugendlichen auf die Probleme aufmerksam machen. Aber nicht nur auf die Probleme, sondern auch in erster Linie auf die Schönheit der Natur, dass die Kinder die Natur schätzen lernen und dann werden sie auch automatisch hoffentlich auch schützen. Hallo.
Hi, Olli.
Hi.
Hallo.
Was haben wir da wieder?
Eine Zweifarbfledermaus. Die wurde auf dem Parkplatz gefunden. Erst war der Flügel etwas umgeknickt, aber jetzt sieht sie wieder ganz...
Bats have different habitats in summer than in winter. In winter, for example, they reside in caves and tree trunks, and they live under roof structures or bridges in the summer. If one of these habitats is disturbed, it can lead to serious changes in the population.
Wenn es keine Fledermäuse mehr gibt, dann würden wir sehr große Probleme mit Schädlingen bekommen. Gerade so in diesen Monokulturen mit Apfelplantagen und so weiter. Oder auch manche Schädlinge im Wald. Die würden dann schnell mal Überhand nehmen. Und Fledermäuse sind eigentlich dafür sehr wichtig, dass sie die Schädlinge auch klein halten.
At the same time in Görlitz, René is on his way to his next spot. He wants to get another animal in front of his lens now, the clever fox. These loners are considered to be particularly intelligent. They have adapted well to the increasing urbanization.
Wenn ich ein Tier wäre, dann wäre ich ein Fuchs. Einfach weil der Fuchs ist ein Überlebenskünstler. Also der Fuchs hat es in der heutigen Gesellschaft ziemlich schwer. Er wird stark bejagt und findet trotzdem immer wieder einen Weg, seine Haut zu retten.
Back in Croatia, Jura is on his way to the Kutarevo Bear Sanctuary. The shelter for orphaned bears was founded in 2002. Since that time, Jura has offered scientific support on behalf of the veterinary department in Zagreb. He shares his vision of a species-appropriate approach with the director Ivan.
Prilazim Ivanu u Kuterevo. Vi ste u... A ove medvjede ovdje ja poznajem svakog pojedinačno, ja sam doslovno svakoga sa svojim kolegama gdje su se bili našli, gdje su u problemu, mi smo ih dovezli simo pojete i od onda ih mi pratimo. Dakle, neki su i 15 godina, a ovi najmlađi su 3 godine stari. Dakle, svakog pojedinačno ima svoju povijest i priču i svakoga pratimo od početka, cijeli njihov život. Sukoba među njima. Eto, za sad i danas smo vidjeli da sve dobro funkcionira.
Bears can weigh up to 800 kilograms and can reach a height of up to 3 meters when they stand upright. They are among the most dangerous animals in the world, and yet They feed mainly on tubers, fruits, and leaves.
Da, u životinjskom carstvu medvjedi imaju i posebnu osobnost. Jer su oni, jedne strane su antropomorfni nekom mjeru. Dakle, imaju neke sličnosti sa čovjekom. Može stati na stražnje noge, oči su relativno s prednje strane glave i drugi životinja su više sa strane. Onda i otisak noge medvjeda nalikuje na otisak noge čovjeka i u tomu je i neka bliskost, ne samo za mene, nego i za sve ljude u odnosu na medvjeda. I ljudi svi doživljavaju medvjeda drugačije nego neku drugu životinju iz prirode, neku crnu ili jelena. On to prevede.
Hendrik and his son approach a herd of elephants whose tracks they have been following all day. Before the day is over and they set up camp for the night, he needs to know if the elephant with the hole in his ear is among the pack. Or have they wasted a day following the wrong herd? A sad certainty. The drought of the last few decades has caused problems for the elephant. The Yugab no longer forms as many water points as it used to. Hendrik's most important task is explaining to people that elephants don't want to hurt them. They are simply on a desperate search for water.
Ochiwana monale okutila nokugonjesa okulamba zonjou pomatulilo abo ya vauta vamwe vauta okudiyaha kuyahame holamo hapena ngumamono kuti yayahwa kuntumba kijikani ngalo kudata mwedikatile mumakuti kokula zazi mpaka mpaka ihameserwa ya idimo mwa nkalonda etwa kokutila nokuhiji kutia awo wanene njo wasakuningavi.
Hendrik teaches the villagers how to behave when they come into contact with the gentle giants, so that the animals don't have to die unnecessarily.
In case of an incident where an elephant broke in somebody's house, and it carries on and on until it becomes a threat to the community living with elephants. So then we need to take this elephant away. So we need to take one that is responsible for that. That's only to solve the problem.
Identifying the right elephant is very important. Hendrik has to share his results with the Namibian Ministry of Environment and Tourism, which then decides what happens to the elephant. The elephant is either chased away or, in particularly serious cases, killed.
I'm a lot rangi lutiandai wina mwenyo nene to himbi biji holo venjo gawi uto kutumbana wa. So okutumbana wa kombinga abantu okutumbaleka o kutimuvili na abantu mbaka pamo na mondo vile watita opoveli yanjele mena lokuti na mama nowa kuma ulo kuzamo ina mwenyo hembi mani nikizwa kwa masa poko vaveta mazipo yoponji.
Hendrik and his companions have to hurry and find a place to stay for the night. The sun is setting soon. While in Norway, Martin makes his way home in bright daylight thanks to the midsummer sun, nevertheless, it is just as late for him as it is for Hendrik. He also has to document his observations.
We jobben samen met forskere og die wil gjerne weten hoe lang die reizen, waar zijn we daar. Ook weer wel die nieuwsgierig om ons op welke walen komen te bokken weer hoor. Ja, hier dan nu al meer dan 10 jaar. Så det for oss er veldig interessant å se van hey, han er her igjen, eller det vi kjenner hvalen.
Whale safaris are also a form of animal protection because they provide jobs for people who used to engage in hunting the sea giants.
Selvfølgelig, vi har her hvalfangst. Når jeg kommer hit for 12 år siden, var jeg også mot hvalfangst. Men i de 12-13 år jeg bor her nu, oplever jeg det. Er det som en deel fra samfunnet. Det er normaal dat die spiser wal. Ook, ja, kanskje det er rart å se, så du leer å liv. Det er en deel fra kulturen.
8 p.m. Evening falls on the 15th meridian. Well, it is time to set up camp in Namibia. In Austria, the most important working time for Oliver Gebhardt, the bat expert, is just beginning. Together with his colleagues, he wants to catch bats today. Maybe some rare species will fall into their nets.
Wir sind jetzt hier in der Peckauer Wand und die ist sehr berühmt für ihr Fledermausartenreichtum. Jede Fledermaus, die wir fangen, die markieren wir hier mit der weißen Farbe an einer Kralle, mit einem kleinen Tropfen, damit wir sie wiedererkennen, wenn wir die Fledermaus nochmal im Netz haben. Dann wissen wir, die haben wir schon gefangen, die brauchen wir nicht normal vermessen. Lassen wir gleich wieder frei.
The Pegau face is a steep sloping wall with many caves, a paradise for bats.
Wir haben ein Netz aufgestellt im Höhlenportal und warten jetzt darauf, dass die Fledermäuse in die Höhle rein und rausfliegen. Und dann hoffen wir, dass sie auch in das Netz reinfliegen, damit wir sie fangen.
The small nocturnal animals are measured and weighed. The researchers also determine which species occur there. Bats find it increasingly difficult to find a home because their habitats are often sealed over with concrete.
Passt bei beiden gleich. Ja. Siehst du das? Ja. Nein, die ist zu klein für Rauhaut. Wir haben gerade auch bei uns, obwohl wir ja strenge Naturschutzgesetze haben, trotzdem irrsinnig viele Arten auf der roten Liste der gefährdeten Tierarten, deren Lebensraum trotzdem ungebremst kleiner wird. Wir leben hier nicht in einem Paradies, wo die Natur erhalten bleibt. Sie wird trotzdem noch überall reduziert und versiegelt.
Oliver's wife, Claudia, often comes along. He accompanied her through a severe bout of cancer. That made them inseparable.
Heim hvor kjærlighet er. Så det tror jeg er viktig. Jeg føler meg ikke nordmann, og jeg føler meg ikke nederlander. Jeg føler meg mer, jeg bor i Europa. Og jeg bor i en verden, vi må gjøre alle sammen. Vi bor på en jord, og vi må være forsiktige med hvordan vi bor på den jord. Ja. Jeg må være ærlig, når den nederlandske fotball er interessert i den nederlandse fotball, så jeg heier for Nederland.
Tiere haben ein absolutes Recht auf ihr Dasein und das sollte man absolut respektieren. Wir Menschen dürfen uns nicht über die Tiere stellen.
Priroda je kompleksni mehanizam koji se sastoji od nežive prirode, od biljaka i životinja. Iako se to bavim ne čak sa svima životinjama, nego samo sa ponekim vrstama životinja, konkretno sa medvjedom, ipak gledam tu prirodu kao jedan kompleksni mehanizam koji treba sačuvati u cjelini.
Night has fallen on the 15th meridian east, the end of a long day for its inhabitants.
Lighting the fire now. Time for fire. Baita wala kutia, nanda kutiwa mokuti meulo kulala pokati ko dhonge no dhonyoka no mauvi. Anda mwene baita wala kutia mokuti wala mujitho kukala no visitu mbia udutho kukala. Jidolo kutia mape ala helala nawa. Iyo kutia onkeama mayulo kukamba dhalo kutia. Imwene lao liya yo.
5 people from 5 countries. Some of them live thousands of kilometers away from each other, and yet they are all united by their love of animals and, of course, the meridian on which they live, which causes their daily routines to take place at the same time.